With SummerSlam 2026 Night One in our periphery as we head towards SummerSlam Night 2, the build-up for SummerSlam as a whole for both nights has been polarizing, to say the very least. Some were hoping for a bigger build for some of the undercard matches and even for some of the main event matches. I've had my criticisms about SummerSlam's build-up as well. Not to say that everything needed to be perfect. However, there were some things that were done in a rushed fashion, and that's just me being 100 with y'all. I try every time that I get in front of this microphone, and pretty soon in video, so stay tuned for that. I hope to provide you guys with insight from a wrestling old head that is true to who I am as a professional wrestling fan. I never want to steer you guys wrong. So this build-up for SummerSlam, it has not been spectacular in my opinion. A subjective opinion. Some would say objective opinion, but we'll get to that. Now, did the SummerSlam 2026 exceed expectations, which albeit were pretty low, or did they succumb to the pressure and the criticism in this build-up and not quite live up to the standard? Well, we're going to talk about this. Now, I'm here to break this on down like a shotgun, like I normally do, but I'm not going to take up too much of your time. If you have not watched SummerSlam 2026, I'm not here to do a full play-by-play. I am here to give you my bullet point opinions with no notes. No notes whatsoever. I am not here to rattle off bullet points that I've written down during the show. This is all coming from the heart. You're getting exactly what I felt from each wrestling match and where I feel like things might be going. So let's get right into it, you guys. The first match on SummerSlam Night 1 was Liv Morgan against Iyosky. My prediction for this match, which you can see on the channel, was that Liv Morgan was going to be victorious. Now, that was also a not so popular opinion. A lot of people were going with Iyosky here. It just made a whole lot of sense. However, I looked at the landscape. I looked at what was ahead. You have Crown Jewel, which I erroneously called Night of Champions in the preview for SummerSlam and my predictions. I'm thinking that this build-up to champion versus champion is more than likely going to lead to Liv Morgan against Charlotte Flair or some iteration thereof. I don't think they're going to go with Liv Morgan against Jade Cargill, and I don't believe the WWE is going to put the title on Jade Cargill just yet. I think that Jade needs a little bit more momentum going into the next PLEs, and it's important for Charlotte Flair to have a rogues gallery. She'd have JC Jane. She'd have Jade Cargill. She would have Alexa Bliss potentially being interested in challenging her. Nia Jax, Lash Legend. Hopefully they can get the ball rolling on Kiana James, maybe potentially Julia. Blake Monroe is also another good challenger for Charlotte Flair. I just think there are so many challenges there for Charlotte Flair for her to win that if it were to be Jade, then we're not getting so much of that rogues gallery that's super important right now, especially on the SmackDown brand. So in my opinion, we get Charlotte Flair and Liv Morgan, which is henceforth why I figured that Liv Morgan was going to be victorious. Another reason is because I firmly believe in my heart of hearts that Roxanne is going into Money in the Bank in October as the odds-on favorite to win that briefcase. Her momentum has been slowed some, but not precipitously, very subtly, and I believe it is because they are gearing up for a big moment for her, and I believe that to be Money in the Bank. And so with Roxanne having the Money in the Bank, the paranoia of Liv Morgan would sprout up and uproot. So Liv Morgan is victorious over Iyosky, and they gave this match a lot of time, and it was a very inspired 13 or so minute match. Very inspired. These two have built chemistry over the time that has allowed for an exciting story to be told in the ring. Iyosky is one of the best wrestlers on the planet, in my opinion. She can do very little wrong when she is in that ring. And Liv Morgan has not been really known for her in-ring work rate. However, recently, she has stepped it up tremendously. And I believe these two did a great job of telling the story and providing a lot of excitement, which the crowd was super into. And it's really hard to gauge where the audience was. I noticed Chris Van Vliet was in the front row. Shout out to CVV. I think it's tough to really gauge a stadium's response to things. I've been in a stadium. I was in Cleveland, Ohio for the SummerSlam where Liv Morgan joined Dominic Mysterio. And that same SummerSlam had the triumphant return of Roman Reigns as well. Phenomenal. That crowd, that arena, that stadium was just enigmatic for the big moments that we saw. Also, I think LA Knight won the United States Championship in that building as well. You really couldn't tell when you went back and watched it. It was really hard to hear the crowd, but I can attest to that crowd being on fire. This crowd was on fire for Liv Morgan against Iyosky, and it was a great way to open up the show. There had been rumors of maybe the Hell in a Cell opening, maybe Cody and CMPunk opening, but this was formatted correctly. Liv Morgan being victorious and Io losing here is going to add a lot of dimension to Iyosky. I hope that within this, with Io losing, we get more dimension to her character. They do not slow her momentum in the slightest. And when Becky Lynch eventually returns, there can be something with Becky and Io and potentially Becky and Liv on the Raw side. Because I've already spoken about the fact that at Crown Jewel, I personally feel like Charlotte Flair is a perfect partner for Liv Morgan to stand across the ring from in Saudi Arabia. But once you get on the Raw brand and you really start building towards the next title match for Liv Morgan, this is hopefully a great reset for her. She has not defended the championship since WrestleMania. So now that she has successfully defended against Iyosky, hopefully she gets more of an opportunity to showcase her talent in the Raw brand. So this, I believe, was a great match. It was a great opening match. And I've become a bigger fan of Liv Morgan over time. I understand her character, and Iyosky really is a phenomenal partner and someone that can bring the best out of most of the women. I only hope that Io gets an opportunity to work with the likes of a Blake Monroe, of a Kiana James, of a Jordan Grace, and of a Julia, specifically Julia, so that we can see the talent in those four women that have not gotten that opportunity to really become showcased like they should. I understand two different brands and whatnot, but I'm hoping that we can get some sort of an opportunity for those four women to shine against somebody great like Io, who will bring the best out of those four women. The next match on the card was the six-man tag wild card tag match between the Bloodline, Jacob Fatu, Jey Uso, and Jimmy against LA Knight, Solo Sikoa, and Royce Keys. A lot of tension in this match, specifically geared towards Solo. What side is he on? Was this just some big ruse? Was he setting himself up to turn on the unlikely team of Royce Keys and LA Knight to officially join the Bloodline? But in the few weeks that we have seen Solo really step out into his own, we have seen a change in Solo Sikoa, and the popularity has started to grow, and we have started to see it simmer. I am starting to see, the Bloodline, Solo joining the Bloodline simmer. And we're starting to see Solo come into his own as a fan favorite. He's got all the tools in order to be that fan favorite. I've spoken candidly about that in my predictions video. And Solo, in fact, did not turn on LA Knight and Royce Keys. And in fact, we got to see a lot from Royce Keys. He even came out with his monster attire, the same monster attire he used in AEW. And I really hope out of all of this, with LA Knight picking up the win here, which was also a great moment for LA Knight. He is a SummerSlam win streak type of guy, I've noticed. But with all of that being said, I am hoping that once we see the dust settle on SummerSlam, that Royce Keys gets a bigger opportunity for the crowd to be invested and emotionally invested in what he is going to do, because he is a heck of a talent. That power slam on Jacob Fatu is something you guys should go back and check out. Really great stuff. Hopefully the crowd is a little bit more behind Royce Keys as we progress through 2026 going into 2027. LA Knight now having that momentum, winning the six-man tag. I'd like to see a lot from him. And Solo Sikoa, really interested to see where they go with him. Is he going to be that loner that people still can't trust? Is he the jackal in his sheep clothing? You know, like where does Solo stand after this? And does he go after Jacob Fatu? It remains to be seen. I'm very interested. He's been wearing The Rock's turtlenecks. I don't know if this is like sort of like an indication that we're going to see him start to clown on ring announcers and come up with a really interesting catchphrase and start dropping the Solo elbow. But I'm really interested in seeing how they continue the momentum for Solo. Jacob Fatu, I believe there's going to be some tension between the Usos and Jacob. When Roman inevitably goes on a vacation, who is he going to appoint as the one in charge? I personally believe it's going to be Jacob Fatu, which will piss off Jey Uso because Jacob just calls him a punk-ass bitch. So I'm interested to see if there's going to be more of that dissension going forward. Will the Bloodline get a new member? All of these questions I hope to be answered in the coming months here in the WWE. I am sure that a lot of fans are going to be a little disappointed with LA Knight, Royce Keys, and Solo winning this and Solo not turning, but I am excited to see what they do with Solo as a fan favorite. This, as Scott Keith would call my favorite, perfectly acceptable wrestling, and the crowd was into it, so I liked what we saw. The next match was Gunther against Nick Aldis. Gunther and Nick Aldis. I thought this was one of the better built matches going up into SummerSlam. Nick Aldis cut an emotional interview with Chris Van Vliet that you can tell was super authentic. This was his opportunity to shine on a big stage, something he never got a chance to do. This was a great moment for him. This was probably one of the better matches, if not the best match that I've seen from Nick Aldis. What a phenomenal dance partner he had in Gunther. This was a showcase for Nick Aldis. And I hope this isn't the last time. I'm going to echo the words of Wade Barrett here, and I'm going to say I hope this isn't the last time that we see Nick Aldis in a wrestling ring. You've got potential dance partners in Drew McIntyre, in Sami Zayn, and I hope we see it. Nick Aldis is becoming the WWE version of Nigel McGuinness, and maybe Nick Aldis is better not going back into that general manager role, and maybe it's better that we see Nick Aldis occasionally appear and whoop some ass. But he never flubbed. This was a good match. This isn't by any means the best match on the card, but Gunther needed to get this win. This wasn't a going away party for Nick Aldis. I feel like this was a coming out party for him, and I hope that the WWE gets confidence in him. He looked phenomenal in the ring. He's in great shape. Give this man a chance to show what he can do. I'd love to see him in the Royal Rumble. That would be huge. Give him his opportunity to be in the Royal Rumble, and for God's sakes, give him an opportunity to be at WrestleMania. This was a great match. Wasn't, like I said, a show stealer, and pretty soon I'm going to come up with some kind of a star rating system, like 4 biceps or 3 biceps or something crazy. I'm going to give it 3 chair shots or 3 table breaks or whatever. You know, I'll find a way to get a rating system to adequately describe what I thought of this match. But fair warning, I'm not going to be as easy as Meltzer. I'm going to be a little more harsh because when I look at star ratings, I don't look at it going over 5 stars. And I look at 4 stars being absolutely tremendous, and 5 stars would be once in a lifetime. So if I do go that route, you guys are probably going to be a little hard on me because I'm just going to be as critical to those matches. Gunther gets the win here. It was the right move. Very great showcase for Nick Aldis, and I hope to see more of him in the ring. Then we had the 6-woman tag team match between the Fatal Influence, the Bella Twins, and Paige. Going into this, I wondered if we were going to see a turn from Paige. The idea of the Bella Twins being this newly fan favorite tag team, the legacy of them and whatnot, the fans getting behind them, especially the young girls in the audience and whatnot. I just felt like with Paige turning, it would have made a lot of sense. But the opposite actually happened. Fatal Influence gets the win here, which I thought was a great passing of the torch moment, because the legacy acts in Bella and Paige are noticing that there is a future with Fatal Influence and gave them that rub, gave them the opportunity to utilize a great moment in a big event, the second biggest event of the year in SummerSlam, by beating them in decisive fashion, I must add. JC Jane has the future ahead of her, and I love Lainey Reed and Fallon Henley. I think they're going to be phenomenal as a tag team. They show great chemistry and poise in the ring, and they do these little things that remind me of old school tag team wrestling that I just adore. Whoever has been training them, they have been listening, and they apply it soundly. And they also bring a little bit of that fresh, new style mixed in with that old school style that's just a chef's kiss to me. I love the Fatal Influence, and I love to hate them, and I believe that's the point. And I look forward to seeing them utilize that a little bit more, and I hope that the WWE is now fully on board, putting the battery behind their backs and giving them the confidence going forward, because they are pure heels. They are jeered, and they are loved in the jeering. So I love the fact that they got a win here, and to my surprise, the Bella Twins turned on Paige here. A phenomenal moment, because we didn't see it coming. Although when the camera, stays with everything in the ring, and I'll get to that later because something else like that happened later on in the night. And you get this feeling that somebody's going to turn on somebody. But the Bella Twins jumping Paige, I did not expect. I must add, I know I heard rumblings of that, but I just didn't see it coming. I thought it would have been Paige that would have done it. So that's interesting. And Paige is probably going to be looking for a tag team partner, and I can think of none better than a Tatum Paxley from NXT. She is on the precipice of being called up, and I believe that would be the perfect pairing of Paige and Tatum Paxley. The WWE is giving you a message after night one. That message is the future is on the brink of taking over, with Fatal Influence getting the win and another young talent getting the win on this PLE that I will get to later. I think it is important to recognize that the next NXT call-up, if it is Tatum Paxley, she should be paired with the legend of Paige, where Paige can really help her out. They look like they would blend really well together, and Tatum Paxley, coming off this feud with the Bellas, could produce another tag team in the women's tag team division that sorely needs a booster, because all three tag team titles are missing from the SummerSlam nights, night one and night two. And I made that joke on the predictions. I'll make that joke again. It's like Levesque is Will Smith's father in The Fresh Prince, and those three tag team titles are like, well, how come he don't want me, man? And with Paige and potentially Tatum Paxley, if that's what they're going to do, because I would love to see it, that adds one more tag team to that division that sorely needs it. You've got Nia Jax and Lash Legend, Charlotte and Alexa, which I believe they're not going to be that much of a tag team coming up if my prediction is correct. Then you would add Paige and Tatum Paxley, and I believe that you can start to bolster the tag division with Tiffany Stratton and Chelsea Green. Hopefully Blake Monroe gets someone that she can join up with. I have a few ideas from the NXT roster that I would love to see, but that remains to be seen. And Julia and Kiana James, maybe they can get a tag team. Maybe Julia can start to work with iyosky, because I almost called her Kana. That's her name on the independents. Asuka is going to be away for a while. Kairi Sane, we know, is no longer around. So Julia and iyosky, I think, would work really well together. Io coming off that loss, and Julia essentially, well, from what everybody's been saying online, squashed. It was pretty much a squash, I must say. Maybe Julia can find that Io can help her get her confidence, and likewise maybe Julia can help Io get her confidence, and maybe that can cause some friction between Rhea and Io as well. There's a wonderful story to be told there that I don't have time in this video to get to because I'm going to move on. I've been taking up too much of your time already, but as I said before, Fatal Influence winning and the Bella Twins turning on Paige I think is exciting because it can potentially present itself to be wonderful storylines that help bolster up the women's tag team division that is sorely needed. So the Fatal Influence get a win here, and as I stated, this was another match that wasn't awful. It was quick, it was in and out, and they did exactly what they intended to do, which I thought was great. Going into the next match, it was the semi-main event, but this was a double main event night one. Either match could have gone first. But I respect CM Punk and Cody Rhodes, two legends in the WWE, future Hall of Famers, for recognizing what was about to happen in the main event and in the Hell in a Cell match and allowing themselves to go on as the semi-main event. Chef's kiss, because I know it was them. I believe that to be true. There's a lot of confidence behind Obafemi right now, which I will get to later. But CM Punk and Cody Rhodes put on a clinic. The crowd could have been better. Like I said, didn't come off really well on my end. I didn't really hear the crowd as much. And the pacing was pretty deliberate. Some would say it was plotting, and I wouldn't argue that with you guys. But growing up as a professional wrestling fan, I thought that this was a clinic in professional wrestling. Now, I can imagine if this match were to happen in AEW and would have been on an AEW pay-per-view, it would have been the perfect blend of the style that AEW has been cultivating since its inception, where you blend in all the different styles of professional wrestling, the Japanese strong style, the high-flying, high spots. And I don't mean to talk about AEW in this video, this review, but I must say that this match could have happened in AEW. And the greatest thing that would have happened if this type of match would have happened in AEW is there would have been no complaints, because there would have been something for everyone. And this is a match that a lot of people would say is a WWE style. I don't agree necessarily with that, but I understand the sentiment there. This wasn't a WWE style match. This was a professional wrestling main event match. The selling from CM Punk was chef's kiss. The selling of the knee. See, it's the little things sometimes when it comes to selling that CM Punk understands so well. The knee being worked on the entire match. He never let up on that. Every single move that he did, he knew that he needed to continuously sell that knee injury. And you believe him that way. That's like a Bret Hart, straight out of the Bret Hart playbook, where the selling impacts the match and adds to the drama and the intensity. You knew, we all kind of figured, that CM Punk was more than likely going to walk away victorious. And the rumors of like a Kevin Owens or Randy Orton showing up were looming. So we all knew that something like that was going to happen. But what CM Punk did was he drew us away from that anticipation for a run-in or for something like that to happen. And we paid more attention to, can CM Punk walk away victorious here? Because his knee doesn't seem to be in a good condition. And I loved that. The screaming that he did during the figure four, when he kicked Cody Rhodes and then screamed and winced because his knee was hurting. That's the stuff that you really can't teach. That's stuff that you adopt over time. You adapt that idea over time. And I really hope that the younger roster from NXT, from Evolve, all the way into the WWE ID program are paying attention to what CM Punk did right there, because that is something that makes you a superstar, that separates you from a lot of talent that I'm seeing coming into the ranks that are in their early 20s, that are in their early 30s. They need that little nuanced ability to, in that moment when things are running high and everything's fast paced, to slow down and remember the devastation of a certain move and make sure that we know the toll that it took on you. Those little things are called drama. They're called storytelling. It's the storytelling that's not written, where somebody backstage hits somebody else and it becomes a brawl, or somebody enters someone's home and they break in and there's like a big brawl in the home, or something along those lines. It's the storytelling in the ring. The story that they told in the ring was something of legend. That to me made the match memorable. It is going to be, and this is going to be a more than likely a polarizing opinion, this is one of my matches of the year. CM Punk has had a lot of potential matches of the year and a match of the year, in my opinion, for about 2.5 years now. And Punk has done it effortlessly. I think he brings the best out of some wrestlers, and I believe he brought the best out of Cody Rhodes here. And I am really so glad that they didn't tease a heel turn for Cody Rhodes yet, because I don't know if we're ready to see heel Cody Rhodes just yet. I don't know if there's someone that's going to take his spot that's ready currently. Now, when I look at Randy Orton showing up, I think of Sami Zayn and Randy Orton forming an unlikely duo and maybe adding Kevin Owens to that mix. 3 disgruntled gentlemen who feel like they've been screwed over, who have been trying to take down QB1, and now who they deem as the corporate mascot, CM Punk. Now, there's someone that you can add to this on the CM Punk Cody Rhodes side that is also a young man. That is also someone that is gaining popularity, that could use the rub from legends. Trick Williams. On SmackDown this past Friday, you noticed Trick Williams showed up backstage and was talking to CM Punk. You noticed there was a little adulation there, and there was also a tease of a professional wrestling match and all that. That's great stuff. But Trick Williams getting involved with CM Punk and Cody Rhodes to go after Randy Orton, Kevin Owens, and Sami Zayn would be a huge token, a huge passing of the torch, a huge moment to elevate someone who is going to be a superstar in the WWE. So I hope they do something along the lines of that. Going back to this match, the match never felt like it was going to be 30 minutes to me, even in the slow parts, even in the parts where both wrestlers sold and it took a while for them to get up. This was a match of the year candidate if I've ever saw one. The match was not as fast-paced as you'll see in other companies, even within the WWE. It didn't have that same fast-paced style that CM Punk and Roman Reigns exhibited in their match, but it worked. It worked really, really well. Randy Orton returning was a great moment. The little wink he gave to the camera, that's good stuff. But I think that now you have CM Punk you have Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton. You potentially have CM Punk and Randy Orton, which I think would be a great match. 2 guys in phenomenal shape that I don't really think we've seen a lot of recently. I think there's a lot that you can work with. SmackDown is going to get a whole lot more interesting in the coming weeks. They just have to find a better way to utilize those 2 hours. And I know they just came back from a 3-hour run, so it's going to take some time. But hopefully with these stories that are being built around the SmackDown brand, they have an opportunity to showcase some of these better stories and build them up going into the end of the year. I'm very excited to see what they do with Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes. We know that Kevin Owens is still looming. I would love to see Kevin Owens interact with CM Punk because they have a history that is very intense and very real, and they can play into that really, really well. And who better than a dance partner for somebody coming back from a serious neck injury than someone like CM Punk, who's going to take care of you and make sure that you're okay in the match. The styles just really blend together, and I'm excited for that. And also, a CM Punk moonsault. That wasn't the best, okay? But when's the last time you've seen CM Punk do a moonsault? This guy, whoever is his trainer, gold star for this guy. I thought it was Cesar Bononi because he's been transforming professional wrestlers from both sides of companies, from AEW to the WWE. I thought it was him, but whoever this trainer is, gold star for this guy, man, because CM Punk has never looked better, and the athleticism, this guy has found a second life. He's not ready to retire in any means, in my opinion. So CM Punk getting the victory here, and I hope to see a longer reign for CM Punk this time around. And there's a whole big rogues gallery in front of him. The tension between Cody Rhodes and CM Punk, I believe, to still be alive. Then you have the rogues gallery of individuals that are going to be circling both of those gentlemen in various different ways, including trying to get that world title and trying to stop them from continuously being in main event matches. I love this stuff. This is the stuff that if they keep this momentum up is must-see television, but you gotta keep the momentum going. Can't slow down at all. At this point, Paul Levesque needs to keep it in sixth gear and not slow down one bit, especially on the SmackDown side. Very excited to see what they do here. And finally, again, no notes, you guys, so I'm sorry for being long-winded, but I'm going to get into this. The main event of the evening. What better of a passing of the torch? What better of a token of confidence than to have Obafemi in the main event, his first main event on a WWE PLE, being in one of the second biggest PLE of the year for the WWE perpetually, and a stadium. Obafemi against Brock Lesnar. This was everything that I hoped it would be. It didn't overstay its welcome. It was their longest match out of their 3-match series. Brock Lesnar gave Oba a chance to become a star. This was a star-making performance for Obafemi. They have built a new guy in Obafemi that is carrying the torch of guys like The Undertaker. Bigger than life superstars that seem impenetrable. This is a moment that we're going to remember for the next 10 to 15 years and beyond, because they have now put the star in the universe of the WWE with Obafemi doing that little pose in the center of the ring after his victories or when he comes in for his entrance. That star is now in the pantheon. Obafemi is the next big thing, quoting Michael Cole. And Brock Lesnar made sure of it by getting on the microphone at the conclusion of their match and saying that I'm the past, that is the future. Couldn't have been done any better. I had goosebumps the whole time I was watching that. This, again, could have been a match of the year candidate as well. The excitement. I didn't think they would be able to top the WrestleMania moment where Brock Lesnar got in the ring and retired emotionally afterwards. This was what we should have seen after that emotional Brock Lesnar. He should have got on the microphone and called Oba out, brought him to the ring, and did just that. But this was done so much better because Brock is a beast, the incarnate. And sometimes a beast doesn't want to let it go. And so Brock couldn't let that idea of being dominated by such a young guy like Obafemi, he couldn't let it go. We have seen stories like this play out in some of our favorite action movies, in all of the Rocky movies, where the one guy that thinks he's dominating cannot let it go when he gets beaten and he has to come back. In the movie Kickboxer with Jean-Claude Van Damme, the sequels with Tong Po. Tong Po kept coming back and coming back again because he didn't want to let it go. He didn't think that his run as a monster was over. We've seen it time and time again. And Brock got humbled by Obafemi being just that much more of a beast. This was the young lion against the old lion. This was a great story. I understand that the buildup could have been better. I understand involving the police department probably wasn't the best way to do things. All of those arguments are valid. They are very subjective, but they are valid. But the story that was told in the ring was the correct story. Now, Oba, you understand now that he can handle the pressure. There was one criticism that I do want to bring up, is that there was a moment at the end where Oba hit that pop-up power bomb, and I believe he was supposed to plant Brock Lesnar on that wood, that exposed wood, and you can see it in the face. If you go back and watch, you can see the disappointment on Brock Lesnar that they missed that wood. That power bomb was supposed to be on the wood. Very small thing. I mean, how is Oba going to see it? So they just missed their mark just a little bit. Like I said, small criticism, didn't impact the match for me at all, but I think that's what Brock was looking for, because that was if he would have hit that exposed wood, then that would have worked out. You know, that would have told you that was it for Brock, right? But small thing, not huge at all. And Oba looked great. He is poised in the ring. He understands the assignment. He's hitting his mark. He's not making very many big errors in the ring. The guy is ready. This is rare. The WWE for eons and eons never wanted to build up another superstar that felt like he was becoming bigger than the brand. The brand was the biggest. And the superstars that were around that were forever in favor of this albatross of the WWE, the history behind it, the big machine that's behind it, this corporate machine. Oba is being built to exceed that. And I hope that they do it. I don't believe Oba is going to be in jeopardy of going into another company at this very moment. Give him the opportunity to be the biggest superstar that you've seen in a very long time. They shoved Roman Reigns down our throat. They shoved John Cena down our throat. And eventually, we were able to digest them, and accept the fact that they were the new superstars. It took a while. And for some, John Cena was never really accepted. And for some, maybe Roman Reigns was never really accepted. But Oba seems to be universally accepted. He's got it all. And now he's on the fast track to become the next big thing. Chef's Kiss main event. Great idea to have that go on last. Night 2, I tell you, they have a lot in store for them to make up for this Night 1. Usually it's Night 1 that has a lot to do in order to live up to the expectations or to be remembered going into Night 2. Night 1 was a very memorable night, and Night 2 has a lot of work to do to make us consider it for the best night out of SummerSlam. And I look forward to seeing what they do with Night 2. But Night 1 was, all in all, it was a really good thumbs up. I see a lot of good things coming. I just hope and pray that Paul Levesque and his creative team understand the assignment, and they know after SummerSlam, there's no putting on the brakes. You got to go full throttle, and you got to hit the fast lane going into 2027 and into WrestleMania. Their momentum slowed pretty precipitously, and now it's an opportunity to make that back in droves. Guys, that was my opinion of SummerSlam Night 1. I'd love to hear what you guys think of this Night 1. Leave it down in the comment section below. Let me know what you think of Night 1, and I'll see you tomorrow for Night 2. This is the Wrestling Old Head reporting from the Portal of Pro Wrestling. I'll see you in the next one.